Hello and welcome to part 2 of our workshop Filling and Frosting. In first part, you must have seen all the tools and equipments needed to make delicious dishes, which you can order it for yourself. Now, we will dive into our today's workshop that is all about filling and frosting. And I have selected 3 different recipes. First recipe is all about compote, where I will be teaching you how to make blueberry compote with dehydrated blueberries. And I will also share tips and tricks on how to make blueberry compote from fresh or frozen blueberries as well. All the measurements and details are mentioned in description box, and I will also be sharing during the video session. If you have any queries, you can feel free to comment in comment box and I will help you solve your queries. Second recipe which I am going to teach you is about dark chocolate ganache, which will be whipped dark chocolate ganache, can be used as filling as well or as frosting. This recipe will be using gelatin in it. So if you are using gelatin and if you want more stable frosting for your cakes or entremets, then you can opt for this gelatin based whipped ganache recipe. But if you don't want the gelatin, you want to make it veg recipe, then the third recipe which I will be showing you is whipped white chocolate ganache. It's my personal recipe where I have used the same measurement which we'll be using in our dark chocolate ganache, but I have tweaked the method little bit to get the desired result as well as the stability of the ganache. So without wasting time, let's dive into our today's workshop. Now our next recipe which we will be looking at is blueberry compote. Here I have taken dehydrated blueberries to make the compote. You can take frozen or fresh blueberries as well. Let me tell you all the ingredients which we'll be using for blueberry compote and how it will work with each other to give us delicious blueberry compote. First blueberry, I have taken here 30 grams of blueberry, which will provide main flavor and texture to our compote. When we will rehydrate it with hot water. If you are using regular blueberries, fresh blueberries or frozen blueberries, you don't need to put it in hot water and rehydrate it. You can directly start making compote with it. I have mentioned all the measurement for the fresh blueberries in the description box. So to rehydrate these blueberries, I have taken hot water. This is around 75 ml of water. So how much you are taking berries depends upon how much water you will need. So here I have taken 30 grams of blueberries. So I will need around 70 to 75 grams of water. That is almost double the quantity of water to rehydrate the berries. Next ingredient which I will be using is 15 grams of sugar. This will help in balance the tartness of berries, and it will also enhance the natural flavor of blueberries. Also, it will give that slight syrupy texture to our blueberry compote. Next ingredient which I will be using is lemon juice. This will brighten the color of the blueberry compote as well as it will enhance the flavor of blueberry and increase the shelf life, and also it will balance the sweetness of our blueberry compote. And then I will be using cornflour. Here I have taken half teaspoon cornflour. It will act as thickening agent in our recipe, and to make the dissolve our cornflour, I will be using half teaspoon of water to make the slurry of cornflour, and then we will directly put it in our blueberry compote. I will always recommend to dissolve cornflour first and then add it to the mixture, or else if you directly put cornflour, it may clump up and it may give thick lumps in your blueberry compote or any of the compote which you are making. So always dissolve your cornflour, then only use it in your recipe. Now first here I will put our blueberries in hot water, so it will absorb water and rehydrate again. By then I will add cornflour water to our cornflour and make slurry of it. If you directly put it in the mixture, it will give very undesirable clumps and it will give awful taste as well. So it will just take a small amount of water to make a good slurry of our cornflour. I will keep this aside and wait for 2 to 3 minutes until our blueberries gets rehydrated. You can see how it has start to absorb the water and release its flavor into the water. So within 2 to 3 minutes, so maximum 5 minutes. It will absorb water and it will release flavors in the water itself, and we will directly use the whole mixture to make our compote. Now you can see our blueberries are rehydrated and absorbed water. Now we will directly take this in our saucepan, add sugar and lemon juice and start cooking it. I would always suggest to use granulated sugar, because granulated sugar takes time to caramelize and get cooked. Hence, our blueberries will get time to get cooked properly and get moist. If you use powdered sugar, what will happen that your powdered sugar will caramelize very quickly and it will leave very less room for blueberries to get cooked. Meanwhile, our sugar gets caramelized. So I always prefer using granulated sugar, and I will always recommend to use granulated sugar itself. Now we will cook it until our mixture is little bit thickened and blueberries are cooked. You can see our blueberry compote has released juices, and blueberries is also cooked. If you want to make it more pulpy, you can mash the blueberries and make it more pulpy. And if you like it more of like a chunks, then you can keep it like as it is. I have mashed a few of blueberries with the spatula itself, and rest I'm going to keep it just as it is. So when we will put it in cake filling or even tart filling, it will give the chunky taste and very good taste and mouthfeel as well. Now I will add this cornstarch slurry in it, so it will thicken a bit, so it will be very easy to use it as a filling inside cakes. We'll cook another or 2 minutes, and then our compote will be ready. Make sure to cook cornstarch, or else you will have that raw taste of cornstarch in your compote. Here, our blueberry compote is ready. If you want to make it more pulpy and juicy, you can blend it as well, or you can directly use this one in your cake fillings and tart fillings. Now, I'm just going to transfer it to a bowl and let it come to room temperature. You can store this compote in airtight container in refrigerator for 7 to 10 days, and you can follow same method to make different berries compote, like cranberries, strawberries as well. You can follow the same procedure and you will have delicious compote ready very easily with this method. You see how this looks. As I mentioned, not just blueberries, but you can make such compotes with all the types of fruits and berries. You can follow similar measurements and you can achieve the desired results for your cakes and tarts. Now, let's move on to our second recipe of frosting, where I will be teaching you dark chocolate ganache with the help of gelatin, which will be more stable at room temperature, or you can say it will hold its shape for the longer period of time at room temperature when you are putting your desserts in buffet or display. So let's dive into our today's second recipe, whipped dark chocolate ganache. So before diving into the recipe, let me show you what all ingredients we will be using in this recipe and how it will act with each other. The first ingredient which we will be using is dark chocolate. I have taken 100 grams of dark chocolate. This will be our primary ingredient which will give structure and flavor to our ganache. Next ingredient which I will be using is heavy cream. Here I have taken 100 grams of heavy cream. It will act as a solvent which will melt our chocolate as well as give that structure to our ganache. This 100 grams we will be simmering and pouring it over chocolate to melt our chocolate and form ganache. Next I have again taken 50 grams of cold heavy cream. This heavy cream we will fold it in ganache once ganache emulsion has been ready, because with help of this cold cream, when we will mix it, it will bring the temperature of ganache to the room temperature very easily, as well as when we will whip it, this cream will help give that light and airy texture to our ganache. Next ingredient which I will be using is gelatin powder. This will increase the stability exponentially in our dark chocolate ganache or any of the ganache where you use gelatin. Almost it increases the stability from 3 times to 5 times. And to bloom our gelatin, I will be using cold water. Make sure that you always bloom your gelatin, because without blooming the gelatin, if you directly put it in the cream, it will clump up and it will not dissolve in cream, and it will also not work as a stabilizing agent. You will have to discard the whole batch itself. So we will have to bloom our gelatin. Even if you are using the sheets or you are using the powder, you need to bloom the gelatin, then only you can take into the use. Okay, if you want to use this ganache as filling as well, you can add 5 grams of liquid glucose in it to increase the stability and shine of the ganache, and it will be more smooth and flexible to spread between the layers of cakes. Okay, I just forgot to tell you the measurement for the gelatin. I have taken 2 grams of gelatin and 10 grams of cold water. Generally the ratio is 1 is to 5. So if you are taking 1 gram of gelatin, you need to take 5 grams of water to bloom your gelatin. It absorbs almost 5 times the quantity of itself. So let me just quickly tell you: 100 grams of chocolate, 100 grams of heavy cream to melt it, 50 grams of heavy cream to be used to bring the ganache to the room temperature and whip it, 2 grams of gelatin and 10 grams of water to bloom the gelatin. And additionally, if you want to add liquid glucose to fill it between the cake layers, you can use 5 to 7 grams of liquid glucose as well. Now before starting the recipe, I will keep our gelatin to bloom, so it gets bloom until our ganache gets ready. So I'm just gonna put a whole gelatin into the cold water, and then just give it a little stir. It has already started to bloom. We will keep it another 2 to 3 minutes at in cold water, so it will bloom properly. By then we will start simmering our heavy cream. So first we will only simmer 100 grams of our heavy cream. Now make sure you don't boil it. You don't have to boil this heavy cream. You just have to simmer it so that it will melt the chocolate and not split our chocolate. I'm just gonna keep low temperature until it starts to simmer. Our cream has started to simmer. Now we will add our bloomed gelatin in it and mix it until our gelatin gets dissolved properly. You can see how easily it got dissolved in our cream. Now I will directly add chocolate into the saucepan and mix it until homogeneous ganache is ready. You can directly pour it on the chocolate, but when I'm working with the small batches, I prefer to add chocolate into direct saucepan, so it's very easy to melt chocolate. You can see our ganache has um, received a proper homogeneous mixture, and now we will add our 50 ml cold cream to this, so the temperature of this ganache will come down very easily, as well as it will be ready to get whipped for our whipped ganache. What happens is when you simmer the heavy cream, it loses its ability to get whipped easily. So when you add this cold one, it is not cooked, so it will have still the ability to get whipped properly, and your ganache will have more light and airy texture because of this one. So in total, in this ganache, we have added 150 ml of heavy cream and 100 grams of chocolate. Moving forward, when I will be showing you one another technique to make whipped ganache, which is my personal favorite technique and which I generally follow when I don't want to use gelatin and want to use it for the cakes. In that recipe, we will also follow the same ratio. I'll be using 100 grams of chocolate and 150 grams of heavy cream, but the technique will completely be changed. So the result will be more desirable, and still the measurement will be same. Now our cold cream is also mixed properly. Now we will let it come to room temperature completely. Then we will whip it. We will transfer this ganache to a ball. Then it will be very easier to directly whip it from bowl. If you don't want to whip it directly and you are not going to use it, what you can do is once it has come to room temperature, you can put cling film on the bowl and put it in refrigerator until you want to use it. But how you will cling film it, don't just cover the bowl. Press the cling film down to the layer of ganache, and then cover it with cling film completely. So because of this, there will be no layer formation on the ganache, and it will be smooth all over in the bowl. So whenever we will take it out and will whip it, it will have the even consistency. You will not have to remove the top layer which has turned hard or thick skin has been formed. So when you want to keep it, you are making it early and then you want to use it after 1 or 2 days, store it in this same way. Now our dark chocolate ganache has come to room temperature. We will whip it and see the stability of our chocolate ganache. After whipping it for 3 to 4 minutes, you will see how light and airy this has become, and it also looks very stable. If I just tilt the bowl upside down, still there is no movement inside the bowl. Now let's fill it in a piping bag and see the stability while piping. I would always recommend to again set it in refrigerator for another 2 to 3 minutes if it is in larger batch, 5 to 10 minutes, because what happens is when you churn, the mixture gets little bit loose. Because of whipped cream, no doubt it will hold its structure, but gelatin is also churned with the mixture, so it still needs again 5 to 10 minutes in refrigerator to cool down and chill and hold its shape. Right now we are working with the small batch, so let's directly transfer it into the piping bag and start piping. I have taken piping bag and I will just put a nozzle in it. You can see. Just gonna transfer it to the piping bag. cut our piping bag. Let's pipe it. You can see how beautiful this looks, creamy and glossy. Now, in when you pipe it, I would recommend to put it in refrigerator for 2 to 3 minutes, as I explained it. When churned, gelatin needs again some time to set. So when you are frosting your cakes, after frosting it, put it in refrigerator, and then you will have the most stable frosting available. After setting it in refrigerator for around 2 to 3 minutes, you can see the stability of this frosting. More it sets, more it will be stable. I have mentioned the recipe with the gelatin for dark milk and white chocolate in the description below. I hope you have enjoyed whipped dark chocolate ganache recipe. Always remember, set your ganache before you put it at the room temperature or you are putting it into the display, because gelatin once whipped needs resting in refrigerator to set and hold its stability. So never forget to set after every step you follow while making our whipped dark chocolate ganache. Now, I have mentioned a recipe for milk and white chocolate ganache in the description box. You can check that out, which both are connected with gelatin recipe. Now, we'll move on to our third recipe. It is my personal recipe of whipped white chocolate ganache. It will have the similar ratio measurements of cream to chocolate, but the method will be completely tweaked. So we will not need gelatin, but we will still have the same stability of whipped white chocolate ganache in our recipe. Before we dive into our third recipe, whipped white chocolate ganache, let me tell you one small story so you will know how I got this idea to tweak the method and achieve the desired results with similar measurements of ingredients. Do you know? Before 50 to 70 years, our chocolate chip cookie used to be crispy and thin. But then there came a chef called Jacques Stories. He was a renowned French pastry chef based in New York. He noticed that these cookies are always crispy and flat, but he wanted some variation in it. So what he did is he took the dough of cookie and put it in refrigerator and stored it for around 24 hours. Then baked another batch of cookies, and he found that this time when dough was frozen in the refrigerator, it came out a little bit chunkier. It was chewy. It was gooey from the center. The molten chocolate would fill up the center space, and it would give that delicious chewy gooey cookie which we enjoy today for the chocolate chip cookies. Hence, he gave the theory that if the cookie doughs are set in the refrigerator for around 24 to 72 hours, all the cookies can have that chunkier effect and chewy texture to your cookies. Then it was analyzed by different magazines as well, and then it was said out that always it is suggested to use cold butter and set your cookie dough for around 24 to 72 hours. After this story, when I was also working with my gunner, I was facing difficulties on skipping the gelatin and increasing the stability of the ganache. So what I was trying is to achieve utmost stability of my ganache once whipped, and then you can store it as well. And if you are putting it at the room temperature, it should still hold its shape. So I was trying different methods and different ingredients, different ratios, but still I was not able to achieve the desired results. But then what I did was I just took all the measurements of the ganache, kept it aside, kept it separately, and then tweaked the method of making ganache. So let me tell you what I will be doing in this ganache recipe. I will be making white chocolate ganache first by simmering our cream and pouring it in the chocolate, making a smooth ganache. Then we will be folding it into whipped cream. Let me show you how this whole process works, and then you will yourself will be able to see the stability of whipped white chocolate ganache. So let's dive into the recipe. Before we dive into our whipped white chocolate ganache recipe, let me tell you what all ingredients I will be using. Now, as I already said that this is a bit tweaked recipe which I use to decorate my cakes, and this works without gelatin as well. So what I'm going to do is, here I have taken 50 grams of heavy cream, which I will simmer and pour it over chocolate. And here I have 100 grams of white chocolate which I have chopped and kept ready. So once our heavy cream comes to simmering temperature, we will directly pour it over chocolate, mix it well until a homogeneous ganache is ready. Then we will let it come to room temperature, and then we will fold it into stiff peaks whipped cream. So I have not taken whipped cream right now because we will let it come this ganache to let it come to room temperature. Then we will be folding it. So until that time, I didn't want to keep my whipped cream outside. So I'm just gonna keep space ready for that one. And now we'll start making ganache. For that, I'm gonna take our heavy cream in saucepan. Make sure you don't heat it too much, or else it will split and it will become watery. We will just simmer it. You can also do is that because the cream amount is less, you can add chocolate directly into the saucepan and mix it. So with the heat of the saucepan, it will easily melt because the cream quantity is less for making ganache. Now I will let it simmer. Now our cream has already simmered, so I will add our chopped white chocolate in it and mix it until it's a homogeneous ganache mixture. You can see how our ganache has mixed well together and become a homogeneous mixture. Now we will transfer it to a small bowl and then let it come to room temperature and then fold it in stiff picked whipped cream. Now I will just let this ganache come to room temperature. Until then I will keep my whipped cream ready to fold it in. Now our white chocolate ganache has came to room temperature, and here I have taken 100 ml of heavy cream and whipped it to stiff peaks. Now what tweak is I have done over here, that when you generally make ganache, you take a 1:1 ratio or 2:1 ratio. So here when we calculate the final ratio, we will have 150 ml of heavy cream compared to 100 grams of chocolate. But what we have just done here is that we have separated the heavy cream part. First 50 ml we have taken for the chocolate, and another 100 ml we have directly whipped it, and then we will fold our ganache in it. That's way it will be have very light texture and airy texture. So when you are piping or making roses with it, this ganache will be more eye appealing as well, and it will feel more light in texture as well. So now we will just pour our white chocolate ganache on top of our stiff pix whipped cream and fold it properly. So general ratio would be 1.5 is to 1. So 1.5 times cream and 1 time chocolate. So total, if you take 150 ml of heavy cream and 100 grams of chocolate, you will get the same ratio. And then if you make ganache and then whip it, you will get same ganache ratio. But this will be more light and airy. It will be also stable, and it will be very easy for piping and creating different unique designs on cake. Once ganache and whipped cream is properly folded, you can see it is more light and airy compared to our regular whipped ganache, as well as this is more stable as well. You can see I'm just gonna flip the bowl upside down, and still it won't fall down from the bowl. So it will be more stable. Our texture looks also light and airy, and it will have same amount of ganache effect, and taste will be also semi sweet, not too much overpowering compared to direct ganache which we use for the cakes. Now let me just show you by piping it. You can also see the smoothness as well. It is quite smooth compared to direct ganache. Now let me just fill it in piping bag and show it to you guys how it will look while we pipe and decorate cakes with this ganache. Here I'm just gonna take a piping bag and put nozzle in it. Doesn't it look like smooth buttercream? Now I will just cut the tip. Let's see how beautiful this is. Now let's just try it on a simple plate. Doesn't this just remind you of smooth buttercream? And see the stability. Now once, if you pipe it or decorate your cakes with this and just put it in refrigerator for a few minutes, it will set completely on cake and it will be more stable once it will be set in refrigerator. We have just made it, still it's so stable. Think once it will be set in refrigerator, how stable it will be. Let me just pipe one more for you guys and show it to you how it will be stable once we put it in refrigerator. So now I'm going to pipe one more and then put it in refrigerator. And let it set in refrigerator for few minutes. So here is the one which I kept in refrigerator to set, and you can see how beautifully this has set already. Even if I just put it upside down, it will still hold its shape, and trust me, this is still smooth when you dive into it. Let me just show it to you. See, it's still smooth and still stable. Same method as we followed in whipped white chocolate ganache can be followed in dark and milk chocolate as well. I have mentioned the details in description box. Even if you have still any doubts regarding blueberry compote, whipped dark chocolate ganache with gelatin, or regular whipped white chocolate ganache, feel free to comment down because I would like to solve all your queries and help you become a better baker. Until then, keep learning, keep baking, be crazy.